This week's episode is brought to you by the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival Committee, Delcon Visual Arts, and Warren's Music. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Wetaskiwin WonkCast, here's how. Go to our website at delconvisualarts.com/WonkCast and send us a message there, or you can find us on Facebook at Wetaskiwin WonkCast, and you can send us a message there too.
It's episode 10 of the WonkCast. Welcome back, everybody. We took last week off for Easter. Hope everybody had a great Easter break with all their families and friends. We are back today with Cassandra McGill joining us in studio, a young aspiring artist. How are you today, Cassandra?
I'm doing just fine.
Fantastic. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, kind of give us an introduction on where you got started.
Well, I'm an acrylic artist, and I like drawing and charcoal, all that kind of stuff. Getting messy is my motto, of course.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and I don't know, it all kind of comes from within. If you could call my art abstract, I suppose that would probably be the best name for it.
Definitely.
But
I'm just looking at one of your pieces here we have hanging in the WonkCast studios. We were kind of talking about it off air, and you were saying how you put lots of kind of emotions and everything into your art, but you don't really name them.
No, I have a hard time naming my pieces because, like I had said, I put a whole lot of emotions into my piece, and I guess any artist would say you have to be in the right mindset to do art, or any kind of art. You have to be in the right mindset, and if you're not going to like what you create. So
for sure. This isn't a visual experience, so I'll tell the listeners a little bit about the piece I'm looking at here. It's kind of like a yin-yang divided with the black and the white, and in the middle it kind of has a burst of color from peacock. Color, and it's got some gold in it too. It's very, very beautiful looking. Maybe you could just give us kind of a rundown on what kind of the thought process was. Did it have kind of were both two sides kind of a different emotion, because you have the black and the white, I noticed?
Nice enough. My boyfriend was nice enough to paint the canvas half for me. So he said, he's actually the one who gave me the idea for it. He says, why don't you do a half black, half white canvas? Because you're always kind of struggling, which one do you want to do more, black canvas, white canvas? Because they both give off different emotions. He said, just do both. I was like, okay, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So he painted it. And so when I started, well, it actually took me a while to get started on it, for one, because it was like, I don't want to wreck what he just did.
For sure.
So, yeah, the idea I like from it is that with the dark canvas, you think more, I don't know if you want to say evil, but more demons kind of thing. You have like a dark soul, and you're trying to break out of it.
Dark and the light side is what you're trying to say.
Exactly,
For
yes.
sure.
And that's kind of what the painting shows.
Yeah, and that it comes off great with this. It's kind of like a Rorschach. You can... Is it one of those things you can kind of look at it and put your own interpretation on? Kind of your own feelings. If you're looking at it, you can kind of decide where you're at from there?
Yes, that is actually what I thrive off of with my art, is that when I paint something, like I just said, I have a hard time naming it because I don't exactly know what I just did. So when I have other people come in and say, oh wow, I see, like Dale, for instance, like you said, one looked like a hedgehog or something, and I was like, yeah, actually it totally does, and that is so exciting for me. I love seeing what other people see, because then it gives them cool ideas.
That's the great thing about abstract art, or a lot of abstract art, is it's kind of like looking at clouds. Everybody sees something different.
Absolutely.
It takes away from it. Completely different. I mean, Justin and I would have two different views as opposed to yours. Mm-hmm. What you originally name it, the customer, the potential person that buys it, would probably think, well, let's name it something else. Well, I mean, again, that's totally up to them what they want to do. But
completely. And that's exactly what I like to base my art off of, and have my own feelings when I put it, like make it, but what everyone else sees is kind of what they...
It just looks like you're having a lot of fun doing that, too.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's fun to look at, too. It's I think it's multi-expressional, and it kind of gives you that dividing line that you generally have in your mind between the different emotions. And in the middle, I think, is kind of a burst of the energy and the happiness that one kind of exudes. Yeah. I don't want to get too deep, but
that's what it is. That's honestly what it is.
That's what I see when I look at it. It has that shimmer and the spots of happiness that are kind of overpowering the darkness of it. And
well, look at you go. All these emotions coming out.
Oh, you nailed it. There you go.
I've been gone for a week, so
Vegas will do that
cool.
too.
Yeah, it will. It'll bring the emotions out of you for sure. Tell us about the first piece you ever did that really kind of got you attached to doing art and to saying that I wanted to do this more.
So I guess specifically for my art, most of it now I finger paint. So this one is a finger painted piece, aside from of course the lines coming out. But the first piece I ever did was about 3 years ago. That was kind of when I started painting altogether. I haven't been painting very long, but I was going through a kind of a tough part of my life, and I needed a
safe way to express it.
Yes, I did.
For sure.
And art has always been kind of like a safe zone for me. So I thought, you know what, let's take up painting. I like playing with charcoal, getting messy, getting my hands dirty. Let's do some painting. So I had a bunch of paintbrushes. I have a Michael's addiction. So I went and bought a whole bunch of stuff. And I went to start painting this piece, which I tried to paint like trees and a waterfall. Totally didn't work out very good at all. So I tried something else, and I thought, this isn't working. I'm getting so frustrated. I'm not supposed to feel this when I'm doing art. So I threw down the paintbrushes, and I was like, okay, let's just get messy. So I threw my hands in the paint. I just started going crazy and painting it up, and I looked at what I made, and like, whoa, what did I do? And just the colors and the feeling of doing it just made me feel so empowered and happy, and I just loved it. And I was like, okay, here we go, new thing. So from then on, that was kind of when I started. So yeah, the first piece I ever did, I put it up on Facebook, and one of my friends actually bought it, which was kind of cool.
Very cool.
Like, obviously, it's kind of neat to see.
So then you knew you had something, and you could kind of keep going with it.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Did you have anybody that was really kind of jumped behind you in support? You had mentioned your boyfriend earlier. Mm-hmm. Did you have any family that kind of said, wow, like we were surprised, we didn't really know, this side of you existed, or anything like that? I
did actually. I have a very close relationship with my family. We've always been really, really tight. And during that part of my life, of course, like I said, it was kind of a hard time for me in all different areas. And a lot of my art at the time was very dark. So a lot of skulls, a lot of
for sure
tattoo kind of designs, which I loved to do still, but they were interpreting as like a cry for help, almost like what's going on, like what's wrong and whatever. And then when I did that first painting, that was a huge change for me. And I was like, I need some light in my life. I need to have some fun with this. So my grandparents, my grandma and grandpa, they have been such supportive people throughout everything. And my mom and dad, like, they all said, as soon as I did that first painting, they're like, okay, she's happy. She's back to her old self. So family has been a massive part of it.
That's awesome. And you had mentioned that you kind of got into tattoo designing. Did anybody ever get a tattoo from something that you did? Actually,
one of my friends, she's from Victoria originally, she got 2 of my designs done on her. The one is a rose design going down her arm, and it's just kind of something fun she wanted. And then I designed her, when her father passed away, I designed her, it's like a little anchor because he was a sailor, and she got it tattooed on her. So to have 2 pieces on someone is pretty crazy.
So tell me how that kind of feels from having something like just a physical copy of a painting to having something kind of in somebody forever.
I can't even tell you how cool that is. Like, that's beyond. I don't know, it's just neat that they see something in what I do and they enjoy it as much as I do. So
they would put it on.
They put it on themselves. Like, that's so cool.
That's fantastic, yeah. Did you have any inspirations coming up from art, or did you just kind of go solo and just kind of do your own thing? And
always been a huge fan. Well, I'm a rock and roll chick. I definitely so I've been looking at album art my entire life. So I love the album art. And one big artist, if you ever get a chance, kind of provocative work, but Louis Royo, he has some wicked art. He does a lot of the digital design, but originally he started doing drawing and whatever. So he has kind of like that Beauty and the Beast thing. So a big old monster with a beautiful woman. And it's just the way he did his art. I was like, I want to be that. I want to do that dark and light thing. And I obviously have thrown it in everything I do. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, he is my favorite artist, I would say.
But I think that's great when you can take something like music and incorporate it into art and get it inspiration from something such as album covers, because there is some fantastic artwork out there done. If you look back in the 80s to stuff like Iron Maiden and a lot of bands who would incorporate kind of artwork that you don't see nowadays. Nowadays you just kind of see the pictures of everybody, but
Absolutely.
To go back and look at the cool artwork on Megadeth and Iron Maiden and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever just kind of sat back and done something like that, like made up your own album cover?
I've done like a couple little doodles here and there. I'm like, man, that would look really cool on like an album or something. But I was like, oh no, it's not that cool.
Yeah,
like,
just for fun.
Yeah, it's just for fun. I dream.
Well, that's the best thing about art is dreaming and putting it, making it come alive, I think.
Absolutely.
It definitely comes out in a lot of your pieces. Do you have a particular piece that has very, very strong meaning to you?
I wish I had brought I have a portfolio in my car, which I meant to bring in, but I have a piece that I drew of a vulture. I think it's a vulture. I don't know. It's my rendition of a vulture. And it's pencil drawn. It's hard to describe it when I'm talking to a radio. But that piece, I have a little heart, whatever you describe it as. I have a soft spot for it because I really enjoy it. And I always look at that one. I was like, I wish I could do another one like that. But I can't always redo what I've just done.
No, sometimes you have to be in the mind frame that you were when you created the piece.
Exactly, which is kind of what happens with a lot of my art. Yeah, it's in a mind frame. Okay, well, I can't do it again. So it's a piece of me at that time.
Yeah. So were you always artistic? Like in school, did you have in art class? Were you always the one who kind of was drawing and doing stuff? And
yeah, I guess the most cliche thing, I've been doing it all my life, is pretty much it. But I've been very artistic, but serious about it, not until the last 5 years or so. Yeah. Because I needed it more. It's very therapeutic. It's very...
Absolutely.
And like any kind of piece, like whether you're painting or drawing.
So it's a safe space, and it goes along the same lines of music and everything for people to express themselves in a safe manner.
Absolutely.
I was just in Vegas for a week, and they had this fantastic street show with these two black guys. Yep. And the whole theme of the show was like, support our street show and keep us off the actual streets, right? Keep us on the streets doing something positive. And it was cool how kind of people would gather around and kind of support them and
That's awesome.
and show them some love. So bringing expression to that is just great.
Absolutely. Like it's all intertwined too, I think, too, when it comes to whether you paint or whether you play an instrument. It all has that same flow, and I don't know, it all meshes together. There's no judgment. You'll get those people that critique you, of course, and you got to be prepared to that. You know, you go through life, everyone's going to critique you.
For sure.
But no judgment. Mm-hmm. You're doing your thing.
There's always going to be haters.
Oh, absolutely.
So. Yeah.
But it's up to you whether you want to listen to them or not.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think my question to you would be, since you brought up, emotions and stuff, have you ever done a piece where you're just pissed off and and it comes out and it shows?
Yeah.
Throw a can of paint.
I knew it.
Actually, I have one at home at the moment that I just was mad, and I threw all my paint onto it, and I look at it now and I'm like, I don't even want to display this anywhere. Like, this is just a rough, raw piece of me that I don't need to show the world.
It's just for you.
It's just for me. So I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I know exactly how I felt at the time. And that's cool. That's cool. You brought that up. But yeah, it's a good therapeutic thing.
So tell us a little bit about the headspace that goes into creating some of your art. Do you need silence when you're painting, or do you kind of put on music and just kind of drift away and kind of get into the emotion of it?
Honestly, the go-to music for me right now has been Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I throw on some Jimi Hendrix and hear him play his guitar, and I move and I go around and have some fun, and whatever colors I'm feeling, and throw it on there, whatever I feel from the music. So, no silence.
That's perfect.
It's awesome for me to hear you say Jimi Hendrix, because that's going back to classic rock, and that's my thing. And it is the younger generation, because you're only 20-something. We won't give away the age. But it's great to see you younger people, because I'm an old fart. I'm 54, and that's my thing. And to see you guys all digging on this music just does my heart good, man.
Completely. Because it's so not here right now. You look at, like, a lot of the other, you see some artists from today that they do some really good work, but a lot of the music from today, I'm just not digging it at all. Mm-hmm. It really does. So all day at work, I'm playing 70s jams, 80s jams, all that stuff. So, yeah.
That's the best way, yeah, because like Dale said, I was raised on that too. I mean, I was raised on like Warren Zevon and T-Rex and CCR and Bob Dylan, and I was kind of terrified of Bob Dylan when I was younger. He seemed like a bit of a scary kind of character, but kind of understand him when you get a little older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to understand his headspace, and when you get older, once you experience life, you see, okay, that's where it comes from. I see.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So if you're just joining us, it's episode 10, joined by Cassandra McGill. Cassified Art, you can check her out on Facebook, Cassified Art -Twisted Visions. So we're just going through your portfolio here during a little break we took, and I'm looking at some of your more kind of darker pieces. And I really like a lot of them, and a lot of them are very expressive. Can you bring us back to kind of the moment in that you had a particular kind of feeling for?
It's hard to go back. Let's see.
Well, don't get too personal. Just
no. It's just kind of. I just like skulls. Yeah. I guess I could say they're very dynamic, and you could make them into
anything.
Literally
anything.
Yeah, and it's really hard to kind of mess up a skull because they could be broken. They could be bigger eyes or smaller eyes. Like, it's cool. So skulls have been a good learning curve for me. Mm-hmm. When it comes to actually drawing faces, that's a little tougher. Yeah. Gotta put skin on those skulls, I guess. But so no, I just doodle, and a lot of them are just kind of, usually I'm either sitting at work or
just kind of seeing where it could go.
Yeah, exactly.
I like how you incorporate the nature aspect in a lot of your pieces. You know, sometimes you'll have the owl, or you'll have the kind of skull inside of the tree, which I think is very, very cool. It kind of blends the two worlds together, from the top of the world and the bottom of the world. Kind of. See, I get very, when I get into things, and I start talking about them. I'm a big art fan myself, and so I really love a lot of the pieces here that you do. What's the most recent one that you've done?
The most recent, let me think here. I haven't drawn in a while. I haven't been in the right mind space to do something like that, but that dragon that was in there, I drew a dragon most recently, and that one's kind of like a work in progress. I'm trying to build more to it. I have a hard time saying a piece is done because I always want to add more. Because
you feel it's never really done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's always something to kind of bring to it.
You're your biggest critic, right?
Yeah.
And you just always feel like it needs to be more, but not too much.
Yeah, you know? just the right amount.
Just the right amount, and it's hard to find that. So, for painting and such, that's been more of my go-to lately. So, I've been throwing around some paint here and there, and I painted a feather recently, so that was a different stretch for me with a paintbrush this time around. So that was my first one with a paintbrush. Sorry.
So no problem. So do you prefer painting or do you prefer sketching? If you had a choice.
I really like sketching.
Yeah.
I feel like I have more control over it.
For sure.
With painting, if I make a mistake, I can't be like Bob Ross and say, "Oh, that's a bird."
Yeah.
I can't really do that with my pieces. So
we're just gonna make that little mistake, little happy little bird. Just drop it in right over there.
Yeah, he makes it so calm and chill, and I'm just like, I'm not like that.
Yeah. No, you gotta be a special kind of person to be that calm. I think for most situations.
Mm-hmm. Probably, definitely drawing.
Drawing, yeah, it comes out more when I look at the drawings you do. You can see how kind of more expressional they are, because you can a lot of your line work. Like I noticed one of your that has a lot of really kind of intricate lining to it.
Yes,
I really like that kind of style of stuff. Mm-hmm. Did you ever consider like painting, or have you ever painted like some of the line work?
You know what, I haven't yet, and that is my next endeavor. I would like to start taking some of my drawing inspirations, like the line work and even some skull work, man. I'd love to throw that on a canvas, but I just need to know control with paint. It's hard to maneuver paint as well as you do with a piece of like a pen or something. So that's a learning curve for me. So
have you kind of done the pastel kind of?
I have tried pastels. I'm not very good at them. So charcoal has actually been my go-to. So. Okay. But again, I need that control. So I found the good mixture of taking Sharpie. I'll draw something out in Sharpie first and then go over with charcoal. And for some reason, I think it just kind of meshes well together and it just sticks. And then you can make those lines. So charcoal, definitely charcoal is my go-to.
That's a very cool tip. I think you might have just given some of our artists out there.
Give it a try. Honestly, it's good.
That's pretty good. Sharpie and charcoal. Mm-hmm. I can see how the charcoal would kind of bring that kind of dynamic expression to it.
Absolutely.
That you wouldn't get with generally anything.
Like that shading and such, and that's the biggest thing. You create depth, and that's what makes you look at it more. It's fun. Yeah.
So, what's your happy piece? What's the piece that you've done that every time you look at it, you just get that boost of happiness and energy?
I have to say that one.
Yeah.
The piece that's in the studio right now, the one we were talking about earlier, the half and half is my go-to happy. I look at that and I'm just like, oh yeah. Yeah. I feel happy and empowered and what's the word?
Rejuvenated.
Revitalized. All these words.
And since you mentioned rejuvenated, remember what the name of the piece is?
Oh, was it?
Rejuvenation.
Oh, it was. Oh, it was Rejuvenation.
Well, there you go.
Oh, we went through so many names. That was it. Awesome. So, yeah, that piece in the gallery here, the half and half, Rejuvenation.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
I'm going to throw you a line of questions now. Last summer, you were involved in the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival. They had it by Lake Park. What was your impression of it last year?
I thought I was so inspired. I have to say, being amongst everyone in Wetaskiwin needs that positivity that art provides, and not just drawing art, not just painting, but music and feeling it. And even if you're not artistic yourself, to just be amongst something like that, you just feel good and you feel happy and see all these pieces. So I thought it was wonderful. I loved every minute of it. I really did.
Okay, and you're going to be part of it again this year, are you?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. That's going to be great. Anything new you're working on specifically for that festival, or? I
am, actually. I'm trying to make bigger pieces. So most of my canvases are like a regular medium size. I want to make some big guys. So I'm going to go nuts on some colorful canvases. Very cool. Yeah.
So at your when you're at the festival, are you just kind of displaying the paintings, or are you going to be doing any live demos for people? Or
last year I was definitely trying to do some more live demo work. It's really tough to do when it's windy, but this year I'm going to try again and be a little more strategic about it. So definitely I want to do some live paint sessions, and I'll be displaying some pieces that will be for sale. So.
Would you ever do some live custom work? Like if you're at the show and you just ask the crowd, okay, shout out something for me and I'll paint it. Would you ever feel that brave yet at this stage in your
I don't know if I am that brave yet. I really wish I was. There are so many talented people out there who could, like, quickly just draw a cat or something. And they draw this beautiful cat. And I'm not like that. Like, it's that mind space, right? If I'm not feeling like I want to draw that at that time, I can't draw it. Yeah. And it just does not look good, in my opinion. So, eventually, that is a goal as well. Yeah. I'd like to become more flexible, I suppose, you could say.
But I think you have a unique aspect. I mean, with just looking through your portfolio and the piece that you have here, you can definitely tell that it's not one of the things that you can rush. It's something you really have to sit down and take time with and really think about and kind of get involved with to properly express what you're trying to put out there.
Absolutely.
And I keep looking back at the painting because it has such a it's almost like it. Well, I don't know what you would call it, but it traps your eyes.
It draws you to it.
Yeah, it draws you to it, and
cool. I like that.
And you just every time you look at it, I think you notice something that you didn't notice the last time.
And that's exactly like how we were talking about before. I want people to do that. Yeah. I want you to look at it, and first you look at it, you think peacock, or you think firework, or you think something general like that.
Yeah.
But then you look more deep into it, and then you see other things, and then you feel other things, and then you just... I want it to keep engaging you.
Absolutely.
So,
well, as much as it took your emotions to create it, us as a viewer are going to have the same effect on us. It's going to be depending on our mindset, too, when we're looking at it. Right?
Absolutely. You know?
So, what... Is there a special brand of paint that you use, or just...
I'm very picky when it comes to my paint, so
Without giving anybody a plug.
Well, like I said, I go to Michael's quite often. That's kind of the go-to for artists. You can go to the high-end art stores, but there's not a lot around here, I'll tell you. But thicker paint to go to... not the artist craft stuff, or I'm sorry, Dollarama, I can't go with you guys. I can't do that paint. Doesn't quite go. So, but thicker paint, definitely thicker paint.
Yeah, brushes. I mean, specific brushes, or like I don't know much about the art. So
that's good.
Is there? Do you use a wide brush mostly, or different? Again, forgive my ignorance on the brushes.
No, it's completely... Honestly, I'm just as clueless. I'm trying to learn the brush as well, because I've been doing finger painting for so long. I want to learn actual brush strokes. Mm-hmm. And now I'm learning that different kind of like angled brushes or wider brushes with a thinner tip, they do different strokes, and they give different, well, how do you explain it? I don't know. They do different things for your painting. Mm-hmm. And so, there is a really big thing. And you don't want a brush that leaves little hairs on it, because that doesn't really add texture to your painting.
One of Bob Ross's rules.
Exactly.
So coming up in the near future, do you have any shows that you're going to be attending, or like live art with music? And there's a lot of that going on, right? So.
Absolutely. I'm looking for more offers to come up and do some. Definitely the Art and Music Festival I'm going to be at. Hopefully, as long as the weather is good, knock on wood, everything. I hope it's good. I hope it's not as windy as last year. I hope the sun is shining and that everything is great and everyone can come out. It'll be really beautiful.
Well, anybody who's listening, if you get a chance to see her stuff, you can find her on Facebook. Do you have a website?
Yeah, you can go to cassifiedart.com.
So can you spell that for everybody? That's
KASSIFIED and then ART. And then the Twisted Visions, of course, the dashes, that's what, if you go on Facebook, Cassified Art Twisted Visions.
Great. Well, I think we've had a great time talking with you today, Cassandra, and I want to thank you for joining us here at on episode 10 of the WonkCast, and I definitely learned a lot more, I think, about art and expression just by looking at a couple of your different things here. Now we're kind of give you the floor here, and if there's anything you want to kind of talk about, or anything that you maybe forgot to mention earlier, or something a question we didn't ask that you feel you want to let people know about, now is that time.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much, guys, for having me today. I found this very inspiring and very exhilarating to be able to talk freely about art and the emotion it gives you. Like I said earlier, art is very therapeutic, and if you haven't tried finger painting yet, I suggest you try it, because
it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. Like, you feel like a 2-year-old, but you're good. You're having fun. You're doing your thing. No judgment. It's just exhilarating. So I would do it completely.
Well, we definitely enjoyed getting to know you better. I mean, I've known you for a little while now, and I've actually learned a couple more things about you, which is really cool. But we just want to say thanks for coming in, and you're welcome back anytime. Awesome. If you want to talk about anything, or like we were saying in our little break that we took, if you want to be a co-host, let me know.
I'm considering it. No problem at all. More art to come, too. So,
anything you want to add, Justin, or should we just call her a wrap?
I think we should just call her a wrap, and it's been a great time learning from Cassandra here. And I just want to thank you for shining the light on what a lot of people kind of aren't really aware about. When they see kind of art, they see one perspective of it, but they don't actually get to see the thoughts and the whole process behind it and the artist behind it. So thank you for kind of giving us that internal vision, and so we could maybe put ourselves in place of you when you're painting some of these, which I think was really cool.
Absolutely. No problem at all. Anytime.
Awesome.
So that wraps up episode 10 of the Wetaskiwin WonkCast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week. This week's episode is brought to you by the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival Committee, Delcon Visual Arts, and Warren's Music.